incredibly proud, and hopefully from your mouth to God's ears, and they can bring it home.
Tonight on Cronkite News, Florida is set to take on Houston for the national championship in San Antonio.
Plus, the sport is finding new success at GCU. How the Lopes men's volleyball team is reaching new heights.
And taking a closer look at conservation efforts for this once endangered animal. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Max Cepeda.
And I'm Mahir Hassan. Thank you for joining us. We start tonight with the end of March Madness as the Florida Gators and Phoenix native Todd Golden take on the Houston Cougars in the men's national championship game tonight in San Antonio.
It's absolutely right, Mahir. It's going to be a spectacular game tonight, and our very own Kobe Bronstein joins us from the Sports Bureau downstairs with more on Golden's shining moment.
Yeah, that's right, Max. Florida is one win away from a national title, and head coach Todd Golden is making the Valley proud in just his third year at the helm for the Gators. And it's been an incredible season for Florida, who have consistently been amongst the best teams in college basketball. They squeaked by SEC rival Auburn in the Final Four and are 40 minutes away from being crowned the Kings of the Dance. And those closest to Golden along his journey would be over the moon if the Gators bring home the title.
I'll be incredibly proud, and hopefully from your mouth to God's ears, and they can bring it home.
It's amazing. I mean, the North Central Phoenix area is pretty tight-knit growing up. The Sunny Slope area is tight-knit growing up. It's like you're making the whole area proud, and now go get a title.
I'm enormously proud. I can't really adequately express my feelings and my emotions, but it's just you know, off the charts to see that. And if they win the championship, you know, I don't drink, but I might even have a beer.
And now all that stands in the Gators' way are the Houston Cougars. Both teams have identical 35-4 records, and both Golden and Houston head coach Kelvin Sampson are seeking their first national championships of their careers. And Dan Mannix is already in San Antonio. He flew from Phoenix this morning as a bunch of his former players at Sunny Slope chipped in to purchase Mannix a plane ticket. And yes, Todd Golden himself got Mannix a ticket to the Alamo Dome for the national championship game, and hopefully to witness a golden moment and what really is a golden ticket for Mannix. Reporting live from the Sports Bureau, Kobe Bronstein, Cronkite News.
Thanks so much, Kobe. And on the women's side, March Madness wrapped up yesterday with the UConn Huskies taking down the South Carolina Gamecocks 82-59 in Tampa. The Huskies were led by Sarah Strong, who scored 24 points and grabbed 15 rebounds, while Isaiah Fudd tacked on another 24 points. The Huskies' championship win is the program's 12th all-time and the first since 2016. For their performances in Tampa, both Strong and Paige Beckers were named to the All-Tournament team, while Fudd was named the most outstanding player.
They've been really cruel with some of these kids on this team. You know, they've suffered a lot of the, you know, the things that could go wrong in the college career as an athlete. And so they don't need any more heartbreak. So they weren't going to take us here and then give us more heartbreak.
Now on the other side, Don Staley and company may not have completed their quest for back-to-back national championships, but the program is still in a good spot to compete next year. However, they'll have to do it so without assistant coach Winston Gandy, who was named, of course, the new head coach for GCU women's basketball back in March.
I just want to wish our assistant coach, Winston Gandy, a very good luck at Grand Canyon. He's done a great job for us. Like, you know, he is a coach that he was with us for a short period of time, but his impact was huge. But I'm very happy that he gets, you know, his dream of being a head coach.
Gandy's hire makes up just 1/4 of the Arizona coaching carousel that's seen a lot of changes and turnover already this offseason. Following the announcement of Adia Barnes as the next head coach at SMU, Arizona women's basketball will be on the hunt for a new head coach this spring. This means each of Arizona's Division I women's basketball programs will have new leaders next season. Last month, GCU announced Gandy's hire after ASU brought former GCU head coach Molly Miller across town to Tempe. Meanwhile, up in Flagstaff, NAU gave one of Miller's assistants and former Lumberjack Laura Dinkins the nod as their next women's basketball head coach. Men's volleyball has seen a surge in popularity across Arizona in recent years, and Grand Canyon University is leading the charge. As the state's collegiate team, GCU has embraced its role in developing local talent and elevating the sport's presence. Matt Ross has more from Phoenix.
Grand Canyon University has established itself as the premier destination for high-level men's volleyball in Arizona. The Antelopes have focused on building a strong foundation by recruiting top in-state talent and fostering a competitive, community-driven culture. As a result, they have made their first 2 appearances in the NCAA tournament and captured their first win in a tournament last season.
We're the only Division I men's program in Arizona. We get a lot of club players out here that support us, which is great, and it's growing in the valley.
Players from all over Arizona see Grand Canyon University as a beacon of light for men's volleyball, as they are the only Division I program here in the state. This is apparent with many GCU players recruited directly from Arizona. Players like setter Jackson Herr, a junior from Anthem, Arizona, has been looking up to the Antelope team for years.
When I was growing up, obviously coming to GCU camps and all stuff like that, so it's a very cool opportunity that we do have this Division I program here, and we get to come up and see all these guys play. So I grew up coming to games ever since like 3rd grade, and so growing up, club player, high school player, I always wanted to come here.
Through their recruitment from Arizona, GCU has built a sense of community and culture in their program. Outside hitter Trent Mosier believes it sets GCU apart from other teams.
And then Arizona culture is just fantastic. I grew up here. That was obviously the reason I came back here, and I've loved every bit of being back here. I think our team has a good culture off the court, which is really nice.
With an impressive record when playing at home, teams are on notice when they come to Arizona to play. The Antelopes have no intention of slowing down this season either, as they have their eyes set on a national championship. From Grand Canyon University, Matt Ross, Cronkite News.
GCU currently sits at 11th on the AVCA coaches poll, and the Antelopes have no intention slowing down as they have their eyes set on a national championship.
And now to baseball, where the Diamondbacks will return to Chase Field after a disappointing series in Washington as they take on the Baltimore Orioles in a 3-game series starting tonight. Arizona started the series on a high note, winning Game 1 6-4 last Friday night, thanks to a pair of home runs by Corbin Carroll. But they would then struggle the next 2 games, dropping each by just 1 run. A concerning trend to begin the new year, as the D-backs are 1-4 in run games so far this season, with the 1 win coming against the Yankees, in which they still gave up 3 runs in the 9th. And now they will turn to their ace, Zach Gallen, to get them back on track tonight in downtown. Gallen was stellar in his last outing against the Yankees, going 6 2/3 innings, allowing just 3 hits and no runs. But even more impressive were his 13 strikeouts, which ties his career high for a single game. And coming up next, a couple of ASU football stars made a trip to a local Arizona card show.
That's right, Max. How fans were able to get an up-close and personal experience with some of their favorite Sun Devils. And what makes it the largest sports collectible show in the state when we return to Cronkite News.
I'm Luke Carter from the Cronkite Weather Center, and this week we have a scorching hot week on our hands. To find out more, stay tuned for my weather forecast after the break.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there. In that moment, you know that you've reached them.
Rivalry was in full effect this weekend as ASU and U of A settled their differences on the baseball diamond once again.
Absolutely, Max. Both teams went into the series as top teams in the Big 12. The Wildcats went into Phoenix Municipal Stadium and took 2 out of 3 in the series. On Friday, the Wildcats rallied down 3 runs to win the series opener 8-5. On Saturday, Arizona kept the momentum going, winning 5-3. However, the Sun Devils avoided the sweep by the score of 8-4 on Sunday night. Nonetheless, ASU head coach Willie Bloomquist was unhappy about this weekend's results.
It's big on our guys to come back. Last couple of days have been kind of rock bottom. Really, you don't like losing games at home, especially to those guys, and to get down.
The 9th Arizona State Card Show took place at the Phoenix Convention Center for their spring edition of the event.
And Cronkite News reporter Dawit Gebremariam has more on how this event is bringing together people of all ages for their shared love
State Card
of
Show
card collecting.
In the state, with over 450 tables of the top collectibles in the country. The event was host to an autograph meet and greet experience with ASU quarterback Sam Levitt and wide receiver Jordan Tyson, who also share an interest for collecting sports cards.
I used to collect football cards, basketball cards. When I was real little, I had a little binder, put them all in the little slots, bro. So, yeah, it's kind of bringing back memories. I'm finna go around here in a second and see if I can find any cards I like.
Established in 2021, the Arizona State Card Show helped to create an environment that celebrates the art of card collecting. Now, the community has grown substantially and is stronger than ever.
I did have a goal at one point to kind of get cards in the mainstream eye, and I think this is a step in that direction. The card world used to be a little bit hidden, and people were a little bit, ashamed, or it was kind of a nerdy passion, and I kind of wanted to put it in light of, everybody, give people this experience.
For many of the vendors at the event, card collecting is more than just a money-making business. It's a way of connecting with the younger generation and motivating them to embrace their passion for the hobby.
The reason why I got started recollecting again was I had a grandson. He's 3 now, and so that's kind of my passion. Is I bring him, he enjoys it. He is teaching him, business ethics and how to treat people and how to sell cards and negotiate. And he's only 3, so that's my passion for it, is the kids.
From old to young, the Arizona State Card Show embraced everyone who came to the event and showed that no matter who you are always welcome. In Phoenix, Dawit Gebremariam, Cronkite News.
Thanks so much, Dawit. And the State Card Show will be back at the Phoenix Convention Center later this year in November for their fall edition of the event.
A federal court held a final hearing today in a landmark case that would fundamentally change the landscape of college athletics. If approved, the multi-billion-dollar settlement paves the way for colleges to pay student athletes directly. Athletes would also share in 51% of their school's average athletic revenue. Athletic departments would be limited to $20.5 million caps across all student athletes. Judge Claudia Wilkins' decision is expected to come later this week. Back here in the Valley, the weather is about to get a lot warmer.
Certainly is, Mahir, and we, of course, are on the precipice of having our first 100-degree day later this week here in the Valley. And our very own Luke Carter joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center to tell us when it may arrive.
That's right. A triple-digit 100-degree weather day is coming sometime soon, but it's not today. 85 degrees right now if you leave your house. A nice warm evening until it decreases down to 75 around 10 p.m. So you might want to turn on a fan as you're going to sleep, but fear not. The overnight low just at 63, so you're not going to be sweating too much in your bed tonight. Some of the coldest places in the state include Window Rock and down in the southern region in Douglas. Quite cold for those overnight lows. As we head to tomorrow, the high temperatures, not quite yet for that 100-degree weather day. 93 here in the Valley, 95 down in Yuma. Some of the best places weather-wise, Sedona and Flagstaff. Could be a good time to go up there, have some fun with your friends, enjoy the nature and the good weather. Now, I must caution you, this UV index is looking very high for Tuesday, an 8, which means it only takes 15 minutes to get burnt. So make sure to take care of your skin, wear a hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, take care of yourselves. This brings us to our 8-day forecast, in which, there it is, folks, 100 degrees on Thursday. It is very rare to see triple digits in the month of April. We typically don't see that until May. And we're going to see it 3 times, 3 days in a row, including a 102-degree weather day on Friday. It is going to be hot. We are getting to that early until a nice little decrease back into the low 90s for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Luke Carter. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Luke. History was made on Sunday in the NHL when Alex Ovechkin scored his 895th goal. The goal broke Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals in NHL history. The Washington Capitals captain scored in the second period against the New York Islanders. Ovechkin celebrated by diving onto the ice with his teammates surrounding him. It was a special moment for the 39-year-old veteran. Ovechkin now stands alone on the leaderboard, breaking Gretzky's record that stood for over 31 years. Get this, both Ovechkin and Gretzky reached their records in the same amount of games.
Now, coming up next, a closer look at helping out endangered animals.
That's right, Max, and it seems like efforts are starting to take flight.
So the bald eagles are, such a charismatic bird. It's always exciting to see a bald eagle.
When we come back, find out how the Arizona Game and Fish Department is helping increase the population of bald eagles.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized. Individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. I'm Leah Phillips. U.S. stocks dropped after President Donald Trump threatened China with a new round of taxes, escalating his tariff fight. The Dow lost 349 points, or 0.9%. Stocks did surge earlier in the day to a rumor that the president may pause tariffs or enter negotiations. However, the president confirmed that he is not looking to pause the tariffs he announced previously. Meanwhile, President Trump got a visit from the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today. Several key topics were discussed, including Trump's new tariffs. Netanyahu said Israel will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States, and Israel is one of the many countries that approached the White House to talk about the trade following Trump's tariffs announcements last week. Israel was hit with 17% tariffs on goods imported from their country. This is Netanyahu's second visit since Trump's term started only a few months ago. Over 200 people were charged with immigration-related crime last week in Arizona. This is according to a report from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Arizona. More than 100 of the cases involved undocumented immigrants accused of entering the country illegally. There were 83 more cases of undocumented immigrants accused of attempting to re-enter the U.S. illegally. And more than a dozen individuals were also accused of attempting to smuggle migrants. Arizona Gives Day raised over $4.2 million this year. Over 750 nonprofits took part of the event. After this year, it brings the event's total donations to $51 million over the past decade. Many donors were urged to give to the event after nonprofits have been struggling due to federal funding cuts. Once on the brink of extinction, this now iconic bird flies over Arizona, thanks to decades of conservation efforts. Caress Melanie takes us to Lake Pleasant, where the journey of the Arizona bald eagle unfolds.
A boat ride, a rocky hike, and a drop over the edge. And we reach a nest where the 3 symbols of the United States will open their wings in about 5 weeks and take flight. A success story.
Yeah, really the success of the bald eagle recovery here in Arizona and throughout the nation, it's a great example of how if we put our mind to it and our focus on it, we can make very positive impacts in the world.
And this success story is decades in the making.
We've been able to see, the population suffer and then the population really rebound in kind of a really exciting way. Looking at only having a couple nesting pairs to this year, having more than 100 breeding territories in the state is really exciting to see, the way that active management can really help a population, rebound and come back from the brink.
This baby eaglet just had a health track and a banding by Arizona Game and Fish. This allows scientists to track his health and be aware of the bald eagle population here in Arizona. He's definitely alert and not so much keeping his eye on me, but he's definitely aware of his surroundings and probably wondering where he is outside of his nest. Griffin Lay has been keeping his eyes on the eaglets since their story started.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about bald eagles in Arizona is that there's very little to no migration in or out of the state. So all the birds that are born here come back here to breed, and there's not much migration into the state from other states. So that's an interesting thing, and that's why the population here has grown at a slower rate than it has in other parts of the U.S.
Still, the bald eagle story in Arizona is one of hope. The bald eagles have called Lake Pleasant home long before the lake even existed. The creation of the lake brought more food resources like fish and waterfowl, and the eagles made the lake their kingdom.
Whole ecosystem in balance. As top predators, they'll go after fish and other animals and things like that just to try to keep everything in balance.
Lakes like this and others allow the Arizona eagle populations to grow, with over 100 breeding areas and a 3% increase each year. And just like you, these birds get their annual checkup. They don't step on a scale, but are weighed, measured, and swabbed for bird flu.
We've learned a lot about them, and they always surprise us.
This is it. After a thorough check, back in the nest they go, and there's no turning back now. Soon, they'll flee the nest. Another one, well, actually 3 of our American symbols out in the world.
So the bald eagles are, such a charismatic bird. They make a great icon for the country, as well as, just for everybody to see out in the wild. It's always exciting to see a bald eagle.
With the Eagles at Lake Pleasant, Caress Melanie, Cronkite News.
Nest watchers said they hope the story of the bald eagle reshapes the narrative around endangered species across North America, and that there are more laws and regulations put in place to protect the ecosystem. And that's it for your Cronkite News Report. I'm Leah Phillips. Back to Max and Bahir at the desk.
Thanks so much, Leah. And coming up next, a first look at an upcoming Cronkite News special with Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego.
What the mayor had to say and who it is going to impact. As we look into the topic that Mayor Kate Gallego has become passionate and vocal about regarding her plan for the future.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
We want the Arizona Diamondbacks to stay in our downtown, and we think they're an important contributor. But again, it's a team owned by a billionaire.
This past weekend, I had the chance to sit down for a special interview with Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego on one of the most pressing issues in the Valley today, the current state bill to invoke renovations towards Chase Field that could be nearly $500 million. Our conversation was a captivating one, to say the least, and one you could see much more of later this week, right here on Cronkite News.
And that's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Mahir Sinhasan.
And I'm Max Cepeda. Thank you for joining us. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.